The Three Little Pigs, the house that fear built. Once the mind believed it could live apart from God, it left the Father's house and called that exile independence. That is where every fairy tale begins, not in innocence but in disconnection. The mother in this story says, "It's time for you to go out and make a life of your own." But spirit has no own life. God did not create us to build shelters in dreams. The moment we believed we could take care of ourselves, the kingdom of heaven was traded for a field of fear. The Three Little Pigs are three strategies of the separated mind. Straw, wood, and brick. Three layers of defense against an unreal threat. Each house is a different form of the same delusion. Safety through separation. The youngest builds quickly. He represents the mind that wants instant gratification. The one that says, "If I can just build fast enough, I can rest." The second uses sticks. Slightly more effort, a better mask, but the same foundation of fear. The eldest uses bricks and stones, the industrious one. The world calls him wise. But wisdom built on fear is still insanity. The Course says, "The world you see is the witness to your state of mind." So what does it mean that the pigs build three houses and call them protection? It means the mind has forgotten its invulnerability and is trying to manufacture what it already has. And the wolf, the great howling shadow, is nothing but projection. It is guilt, dressed as threat. It huffs and puffs because guilt cannot enter peace. It can only try to blow it down. The wolf is the belief that something outside can destroy you. But there is nothing outside. The body's eyes see only form and nothing else. The pig's terror of the wolf is the mind's terror of its own power. And every house, straw, stick, or stone, is the architecture of self-protection, the ego's ministry of defense. The ego tells us, "If I just work hard enough, I'll be safe." It sanctifies effort, calls it virtue, and names it industriousness. But the Course reminds us, you are not asked to make yourself holy, but to accept your holiness. The industrious pig is praised for his bricks, but all bricks crumble in time. There is no house strong enough to keep God out or fear away. When the wolf comes, it meets only its maker. The breath that huffs and puffs is the breath of the same mind that built the walls. Every blow of the wolf's lungs is the echo of the builder's doubt. When the mind believes in separation, it fears its own breath. It calls creation destruction. And then, when it finally defeats the wolf by boiling him alive or sending him down river, it celebrates the murder of its own illusion. That's the ego's solution to fear. Kill what it projected and call that peace. But you cannot destroy what was never real. Boiling water does not redeem the dream. It only hides the fact that the wolf was you all along. The Holy Spirit asks only that you look at what you have made and recognize that it has no meaning. When you see that the wolf was only a thought, the house dissolves with it. No huff, no puff, no battle. Just recognition. The pigs run home to tell their mother the lesson learned. Work hard, build strong, stay safe. But that is not salvation. That is the gospel of fear. Try harder next time. The world rewards effort and calls it redemption. But heaven requires nothing because nothing was lost. True safety cannot be built. It is remembered. And remembrance comes not from bricks or labor, but from stillness. So what happens when the dreamer awakens? He realizes there was never a wolf, never a house, never three little pigs. Only a mind pretending to be separate, huffing and puffing at its own shadow. That's why the final lesson isn't about protection, it's about perception. If the wolf was never real, What exactly were you fortifying yourself against? Fear is not a visitor, it's a tenant you invited in. And forgiveness is simply eviction. You don't need to fortify the dream, you need to see through it. The Course says, God's Son is safe, resting in his peace and needing nothing. That is the truth the wolf could never blow down. In a world where fear builds the walls and guilt huffs at the door, 3 little pigs keep hammering, thinking safety lies in structure. But the wolf was never real, and the only thing that ever needed to be blown away was the belief that anything could.